Hey, beautiful soul. Sonia B here with the Holistic Healer. I am back with several very important prophetic messages. Right now, we are dealing with this retrograde energy from Saturn. So, with that being said, it's bringing a lot of stuff up to the surface in a sense, a lot of stuff that had been suppressed. And for some of you guys, it's a situation of you not even knowing that this energy was actually there. So let's just say that the Most High have already revealed some of this to your divine feminine in a sense, but maybe some of you guys aren't even aware of how you may have possibly operated in past life energies in a sense. Okay, so but your divine counterpart is aware of this information, but the Most High had kind of, now that once you guys chose to decide to how can I say it, be in union with your twin spiritually in a sense, it's almost like now the Most High is kind of revealing to you, through the Saturn retrograde type energy of what you did not even know was hidden way down underneath the surface. You may have known that you acted or may have moved in a certain type of way. You just probably just didn't know and understand why you did the things that you did, and maybe felt like, thank you, Spirit, feeling like for some of you, it's a situation not feeling any remorse or feeling any type of empathy in regards to other people when it comes down to your divine counterpart in a sense, okay? Because this is energy from a past life that you have kind of dealt with. And for some of you, and you intentionally allowed yourself to kind of go to a lower state of a lower timeline, and it's almost like the Most High was allowing you to go there so that way that you can be able to see exactly where this type of energy is coming from, okay? To see yourself in the darkness and shine light in that area that maybe you wasn't necessarily aware of. For some people, they weren't aware of this. For some, they may have been aware of this, but they chose to continue to operate in that same mindset, okay? It's just something that they had just been constantly doing, not only to their divine feminine, but probably dealing to other women as well too, okay? So anyway, but some of you guys are going to be divinely guided to start crossing T's and dotting I's, and this is about getting things in order is what I'm hearing. Divine order. Thank you, Spirit. Getting things in divine order so that way that you can set up a foundation, so that way that you can leave behind a legacy, okay? I heard it was almost like, okay, a sense of urgency, okay? Like, what are you going to leave behind for your kids? What are you going to leave behind for your grandkids? Okay. So it's almost like some of you guys are going to be divinely guided to, again, to start getting things in orders, and this is meant to place a spark underneath your ass is what I'm hearing, because again, sometimes people think that just because we're in this world that we have to be of the world, and the world tells us, hey, make sure you have a 401k, make sure you have medical health care, make sure you have this, make sure you have that. On this divine journey, basically the Most High is saying, hey, this is how I want you to do things, and not necessarily do things the way that the world tells you to do it, okay? And a lot of people have had a hard time with that because, thank you, Spirit. And what's being brought to my attention is because I kept seeing the color yellow. Yellow usually is represented back to the solar plexus, okay? And the solar plexus is usually right underneath the heart chakra space, okay? So heart chakra and the solar plexus area is right here. So basically it's about will being done, okay? So either you're going to allow your will to be done, or either you're going to allow the Most High's will to be done, okay? So I say all that to say that, again, some of you guys are going to be divinely guided to start crossing T's and dotting I's and try to, but basically thank you, Spirit. What I'm hearing is some of you guys are going to, it's almost like you were meant to kind of start creating a system in place. And once you guys come into union, and make no mistake, God is not going to allow people to come into union prematurely of, moving and operating in the same way that you did before. This is the reason why the Saturn retrograde energy is here, to help us all to move out of this, dark place. But basically, first of all, whatever you have been suppressing emotionally, whatever you have been suppressing physically, in a sense, it's almost like the Most High is kind of allowing it to come up and come out in a sense. So it's almost, I'm hearing, thank you, Spirit, I'm hearing like purge, okay? So that way you can purge it out of your system for all. So that way that you know and you understand thyself in a sense, and know and understand, like, when certain things trigger you, you not allow yourself to go back to that same lower state, lower mindset, okay? Because that can put a person in, not only will it not be good for yourself, but it will not be good for the other individual person as well too. So this is the reason why I'm here. Divine order is in order, okay? So I say all that to say because there could be a chain of events that can transpire, when you allow yourself to constantly keep operating from that lower mindset, okay? And there be you find yourself having consequences behind that, is what I'm hearing, okay? But this is the reason why the Most High is trying to bring it to your attention, so you don't allow certain things. Yes, it's important to talk. It's important to speak, okay? Society has made a lot of us kind of silence ourselves, suppress everything down, especially when it came down to, like, as an example, slavery is what's coming to mind. Thank you, Spirit. Especially like slavery, like it's almost like people had kind of walked around here in despair, this hope of like, well, what can I do? These people rule the world, so I can't absolutely do nothing about it. But no, actually, that's quite the opposite is what I'm hearing in a sense, okay? You can do something about it, because as it says, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything, okay? But I say all that to say, when you put your trust within the Most High and implement His will, He's going to divinely guide you of how He wants things to be. And if you just trust that process, things are going to work out in your favor, okay? But when we continue to do our own will and our own path, and sometimes God will allow us to go down that road so that way that we'll see, okay, it pushes us right back into the Most High's arm, okay? And I say all that to say, because sometimes we can exhaust ourselves, we can spread ourselves too thin, and it's almost like, okay, Lord, I had enough. I'm just tired. I'm so tired, Lord. I'm so tired. I surrender, And what do? We run right back to God's arms so that way He can protect us, okay? So sometimes we can get in our own way, and God will leave you out there and tell you, it's like, okay, are you tired yet? Are you tired? Are you done? Okay? It's what I just heard is almost like an adult throwing a child type temper tantrum, okay? Because they're not doing something the way that God is not moving in the way that they want them to move, okay? So this next message coming through has a lot to do with some of you guys may be divinely guided to switch banks later down the road, okay? And some of you guys, it's a situation of, it's almost like this is something that's being divinely guided. So pay attention and listen out for that in regards to what it is that the Most High is asking you to do, okay? But again, I'm sure your spiritual team will keep constantly giving you these nudges when it is time for you to move. So just pay attention to your intuition and your gut feeling, and, tune into your spiritual team for help, okay? So the next message that I received was, this has a lot to do was, so let me take you on a quick journey real quick. Imagine somebody sitting in the middle of a medium, like a merging lane, okay? Like imagine two people sitting there, and imagine somebody rolling up in a car being very chaotic with kind of like, this in their hand or whatever the case may be, just rolling up being very chaotic. Why am I saying that? Chaotic, okay? So the way I saw this this is kind of like some of that behavior and the energy that some of the divine masculines was in. I think I did a video last year around about this time, and what I didn't know is that every year somewhere around about the same time, we usually deal with Saturn in retrograde at this time. So last year was about a lot of divine masculine. Seemed like, how they wear the blue booties at this color, like when they're going to surgery, or, when they're trying to protect their shoes or whatever the case may be from, doing surgery or whatever, the type of booties that they put on their feet. It's almost like a divine masculine had that on his, his root chakra area, which is basically like kind of like wearing whitey tighties, but they weren't whitey tighties. They came in the color blue. So that was just letting me know that the Most High was trying to heal basically their root chakra so that they can learn to feel a sense of safety and secure, and know that their primal needs are being met, so that way they don't have to keep operating and moving in the same way that they had to before. Thank you, Spirit. So I say all that to say that a lot of unhealthy emotions, like I feel like those are the energies that we're in right now in a sense, okay? So be mindful of that, because it was even to the point that I see that masculines were kind of acting a certain type of way to the point that they were triggering their kids, that their kids kind of wanted to run away from them in a sense, okay? So anyway, so it's almost like a divine masculine kind of roll up with two people's kind of sitting on a corner, just I guess chit-chatting or doing whatever the case may be. And he rolling up like this, very chaotic in the car, just acting very chaotic in a sense, okay? And I say all that to say, and it's like somebody, I guess, must have recognized this person, and maybe it could have been their divine counterpart in the sense that they recognized who it was. So it's almost like this person came, I'm hearing the word intimidating. Thank you, Spirit. They was trying to be intimidating to the point of causing someone to be fearful and trying to control a situation in a sense. But I also see that it's almost like the one person had told the other person to run. So these were two females that were sitting in the middle of the meridian or whatever the case may be, like a merging lane to turn. and it's almost like one told the other female to run. So one ran and jumped over the fence, but she noticed that the man was only chasing her and not necessarily the other girl, or whatever the case may be. So someone ran into like a building and ran downstairs, usually running downstairs into like a basement, because that's what it kind of seemed like. It was running into like a basement, which seems like a laundry room is in the basement. And usually that's a sense of, running down is usually stuff that is hidden way down in our subconscious that we're not even aware that is there. So it's almost like, because this feminine kind of ran down into the basement, it's almost like it forces this masculine to see himself for who he truly was, in a sense of allowing him to see why he's acting the way he's acting, why he's behaving the way he's acting. Because one thing you have to understand, that on this journey, that sometimes the divine feminine will trigger the divine masculine. And it's not so much that she's doing it intentionally. It's like she's doing it because she's just living her life, but it just so happened that something that she could be thinking about at that exact moment may have triggered him, pissed him off at the moment, because that just goes to show you that that's an inner wound that he has not yet to address himself, okay? Whereas a lot of the divine feminist has done a lot of the inner healing work, where the masculine is trying to play catch up, okay? But what the feminine has already done, what the feminine has already done and pretty much healed is like, now the divine masculine is having to learn to face his self, okay? So this was a situation that was actually really transpiring last week, but for some people it really could happen to them, this week, in a sense, okay? But I say all that to say that it's almost like, as I said, the divine masculine was kind of acting out of character, for those of you who do know your divine masculine, and let's just say maybe you guys are, when coming into union, you will be reconciling, in a sense. I'm not talking about necessarily those people who have not seen their actual divine counterpart, but they know who their divine counterpart is. This is someone who's actually seen, maybe have in a marriage, or possibly dated, or got kids together, okay? So anyway, so this next message came through this was about someone having like a luncheon at work. Be mindful, y'all, of the people that you're eating from, because the way I saw this it was like this foreign lady. She baked a lot of food for the luncheon that they had, in a sense. But the way I saw it she wasn't even eating her own food, okay? She had another dish to the side. So anytime you see somebody, and I know sometimes as they refer to, a way to a man's heart is through his stomach. So you guys have to be mindful, because I don't care if it's man or woman, it doesn't matter. Be careful of who you eat from, okay? Because not everybody has your best intentions at heart, okay? That applies to restaurants, that apply to individual people, that apply to these potlucks at luncheons at work, or whatever the case may be, Christmas gatherings or Thanksgiving gatherings, whatever. Be mindful of that, because again, this lady fixed a whole bunch of food, but she didn't even eat her own food. She was eating another dish that was off to the side, and she was just kind of sitting back and watching everybody else eating. So that's something to be mindful of, okay? And something came up too, as well too. I guess something about it came through like a divine feminine had kind of ran into somebody who had basically, okay, thank you, Spirit. What's coming to mind is basically some of you guys are being made known of something that divine feminine, something that you did not necessarily know, but God may have revealed to you. Somebody from your past basically had a situation dealing with like schizophrenia, okay? And I say all that to say, and y'all don't get caught up with the labels, in a sense, that society creates, because basically, the way I see this is a lot of people can slap labels on people, but sometimes it's misguidance, because they themselves aren't necessarily sure of what's transpiring. So, rather than to be wrong or say, hey, we're wrong about this or whatever, some people don't want to do that, especially society, those who came up with those names, in a sense, because it's easy to slap a label on something that they don't understand, because a lot of times people can misunderstand what seems to be like schizophrenia type energy for somebody who is really dealing with alternate realities at different, how can I say it? Dealing with alternate realities. We have the ability to be in different realities in this current reality, and tapping into another reality, in the sense that something else could be transpired, where what may looks to seem like something, like somebody having a mental issue or mental problem, in a sense, they actually are not. They just coexisting in this reality and coexisting in another reality at the same exact time, okay? So if we learn how to stop criticize it and stop slapping labels on people and trying to make people feel bad for what, again, society has done. Because if you take it back, what I'm hearing is coming to mind. Thank you, Spirit. What I'm hearing is coming to mind is even like when the people in society started labeling people as different colors of people, like, you know, you're black, you're light, you're white, you know, that again was another label that yet again they was meant to slap an attachment to cause people to feel a certain type of way, in a sense. Okay, so be mindful of, you know, just that type of stuff, because to be honest with you, when the way I'm seeing it and the way I'm hearing is people that they referring to as someone who having like schizophrenia or whatever the case may be, they're actually seeing things way ahead of time than you actually seeing it for yourself. So I did a message over on TikTok in regards to like mental health month, you know, because honestly, I really think that society needs to change the way that they handle things and handles mental health situations, because a lot of these people, I feel like, who are in mental health facilities, there's not anything wrong with them. It's just that they're learning how to, they're really sensitive beings. And I say all that to say that they're sensitive because they're picking up on so much that's going throughout this world. And honestly, you know, us as divine counterparts, in whether it be divine feminines or divine masculines, we are also sensitive too. It's just that we pick up on totally different things. We pick up on energy from, you know, what is it, like sacred places, from Mother Earth, you know, all of these different things. You know, there's all different types of empaths that's out here, and that's something to just be mindful of. Again, so just be mindful for the next time that you decide you want to throw that word around or that label and to prejudge somebody, because the way I see it is, you're pointing a finger at somebody, but it's like that same person may have some information that you're not even aware of, that you don't even have at this exact moment, that could basically help you in your time of need. So again, be mindful of that, is what I'm hearing. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, so this next message came through was okay, so some of your divine counterparts had been doing things like sending forceful energy towards you, just basically trying to get your attention, trying to dominate, trying to control, trying to have authority, and trying to basically have power over you, in a sense. But some of you guys have kind of stood the test of time, and basically it wasn't a matter of trying to, you know, castrate your masculine. It wasn't a matter of you trying to, you know, disrespect them. It was just a matter of you standing up for yourself, because, you know, if God be for you, who dare be against you? You know, if you've done all this hard energy effort at hand and put in the inner work that God had asked you to do, just for your own divine counterpart to come along and try to control you, as the world has done as well too. Some of you was like, oh, no fucking thank you. You can keep that shit, okay? And some of the masculines didn't take too well to that, in a sense, okay? To the point that they kind of started acting out of character because that pissed them off, in a sense, okay? And yes, the Most High allowed them to kind of go there a little bit, but it was only for them to see just how low and dirty that they really could get, so that way that they can see themselves on a lower timeline of how they behaving, okay? So this next message came through this was even to the point of almost like your divine masculine. Like, let me give you a quick example. So in the past, it's almost like your divine masculine may have done something like left the home, okay? Left you and the kids standing stranded, in a sense, and he allowed other men to kind of come into the house, like literally giving them the keys to the house, renting out rooms while you and your kids are still standing there. And some of you guys may say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, what's wrong with that? You don't know these people and you don't know the people, but it was specifically this divine masculine was doing this with men, allowing men to come within your personal space where your kids and your wife was at, in a sense, and even allowing people to just kind of come and go into the house, in a sense, which was basically some of the energy that was kind of showing up, you know, like last week, in a sense, where it was almost like the divine masculine was showing up yet again doing the same exact thing, because he was in his feelings and not necessarily speaking and saying how he felt. It's almost like the Most High did allowed him to, you know, decrease himself down to a lower timeline. And I say all that to say, basically, he did the same exact thing this time around. Like, it's almost like giving somebody the keys to your door, but spiritually, and allowing them to come in, to the point that some of you was like I'm going to ask you to wait outside. I'm going to ask you to leave because I didn't invite you into my home. Okay. Just things like that, in a sense. And then it was another situation to the where it's almost like maybe your divine masculine, like in this time around, for those of you who are going into like reconciliation, in a sense, it could have been a situation that you're starting to understand situations now a little better, where before, like, let's just say when you guys were together, like, let's just say maybe you may have went to like Christmas parties or whatever, and let's just say that maybe your masculine didn't want to dance, but he was too busy talking to other, co-workers that may have been female co-workers, and it could have been a situation of, let's just say that it was a situation of maybe a male coworker was also there as well too. And, because the divine masculine didn't want to dance, it's almost like his coworker wanted to dance. So basically it's like your divine counterpart is telling this other male coworker, yeah, go ahead. It's almost like pushing your divine feminine off on another man, like you totally disregard her as if she's like trash in a sense, okay? And that's stuff that the Most High is kind of like allowing you guys to sit back and see yourself for who you truly are and why you have operated the way that you have operated in a sense, okay? Again, you say things, you do things, and you're not knowing exactly why you're saying it. For some of you, you do know exactly why. For others, it's a situation that you didn't know where this energy was coming from, okay? So I say all that to say, and it's almost like it left the divine feminine feeling some type of way, like feeling almost like, I'm just going to say it for what it is, feeling almost like she was kind of being mishandled, and not only mishandled, but feel like her masculine was kind of treating her as if she was somebody standing on a corner selling herself in a sense, and she was not in a sense, okay? That's just to the point of how he was kind of operating in a sense, okay? So for some of you guys, moving on to the next, thank you, Spirit. And this was the other thing too. Like I said, for some of you could have just been, the divine feminine could have just been sitting around just thinking about something or reading something or hearing something. And it's almost like something had triggered your divine masculine. Like, as an example, for me, the word abuse had came up because I was watching a video. I was rewatching a video that I had did over on TikTok or whatever the case may be. And I guess my masculine must have picked up on the abuse part of it. So with that being said, remember, abuse can come in all different shapes or forms, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and psychologically. So abuse came up, and I really felt him being triggered because I started to feel what he was feeling in a sense. So therefore, that was, how some of the other things had kind of started transpiring in a sense, okay? Even to the point that your masculine was definitely trying to prove a point. It was to the point that my masculine literally, he took my mattress and spiritually pulled it out of my house. And it's almost like he pulled it to a place of someone. Let's just say he pulled it to a place of okay, let me just say it like this person who used to, work on my car, okay, the mechanic in a sense. It's almost like God was telling me to walk away from him in a sense, because my whole family was kind of going to him at one point. Even my spouse was going to him at one point, getting his car fixed or whatever the case may be. But he couldn't understand why I had disassociated myself from him in a sense. But he didn't know that because he didn't want to hear what I had to say. Even when he asked me why, I told him why, but that wasn't good enough for him. And it wasn't logical enough for him in a sense, because he basically, I felt like he disrespected me. He not only disrespected me, but he disrespected, I felt like, my daughter, my mom, and my son, and whoever else may have, family members that may have came there and got, their cars fixed through him. So sometimes just because somebody is offering something to you guys doesn't necessarily mean that, let's just say that they don't have a hidden agenda, okay? So basically I released this person and went and found another mechanic, but it's almost like my divine counterpart literally took my mattress and pulled it out towards the parking lot of the parking lot of my old auto mechanics office or whatever. And I literally found myself like laying there on this mattress with just covered up here, and a sheet here in a sense. And this motherfucker, I was pissed. This man was up. This man was up in my face, and I thought to myself, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, one, I'm looking at my mask and like, what the fuck are you doing in a sense? Okay, I'm not no fucking prostitute. Don't do that shit. And I was so fucking pissed off, that this was happening in a sense. And it's almost like this man pulls my mattress over towards my old auto mechanics. Again, haven't dealt with him in almost a year, two, whatever the case may be. Anyway, so I say all that to say that he pulls my mattress. This man is in my personal space talking to me, talking about, well, let me fix your car. And I'm thinking to my car, because remember, cars are like your souls. It's kind of like, well, at least cars are like symbolism of your soul in a sense. He was like, well, let me fix your car. I'll make it better. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this motherfucker is not talking about like my little car. He's literally talking about me in a sense. And I was like, oh no. And I told him, I said, aren't you married in a sense? I was so pissed off. I said, aren't you married? And then he was like, yeah, but I don't, what did he say? I don't want to be with her. He said he didn't want to be with her. Hold on. Oh, he said he wasn't happy with his marriage, okay? He said he wasn't happy with his marriage. So I told him, so get a divorce. And I'm thinking to myself, why the fuck are you in my face, or whatever the case may be? And I didn't like the fact, because this man had his hand on my hand, and like spiritually, you know, I woke up so fucking pissed off in a sense at my divine masculine. I was like, you know, I ain't gonna even tell you what I said I really could do to him right about now. But I say all that to say, it pissed me off so much. I was so pissed for the last few days, because I couldn't believe he did that shit. But then I guess I shouldn't have been too surprised, because God had already kind of revealed to me in the past of some, you know, some of his type of behaviors, just how low he could stoop in a sense. Okay. So yes, I felt really disrespected by my masculine in a sense. But I say all that to say that, and then I felt some type of way about God, because I was like, God, come on now. Like, I know I'm protected or whatever, so why would you even allow this to happen? Then God had to bring back to my attention that I needed this to happen. I wasn't going to allow anything else to transpire beyond what had transpired, because I needed him to see himself in the ugly light, so that way he can shine light on his behavior and how he operated. Because again, God had already revealed that to me some years ago in a sense, almost like what? 4 or 5 years ago, he had revealed that to me. Some of the things that, you know, how he had been operated in a sense, okay? Just how low and dirty he could get in a sense. But anyway, I say all that to say, now it's a situation of, I'm moving on to the next message. Now it's a situation of, it's almost like, now that had transpired, it's almost like the Most High had kind of like sent like angels in a sense of kind of like helping you to, you know, release, to calm. It's like, I'm here is like to calm your nervous system after all of dealing with all that traumatic, because yes, it can be like a traumatic experience. So it's almost like the angels was kind of there doing healing work, because I just saw like someone standing in front of me just kind of doing like this and just trying to figure out if they kind of pulled, you know, all of the gook or all of the ook or any of all that. Because as healing was being done on me spiritually through the angels, it's almost like it was being done on him as well too, okay? So for some of you guys, it's a situation, some information just could be coming up in regards to, yet again, your past. Because for some situations, there's some people who are actually operating in this lifetime. And let's just say maybe like in this lifetime, they're not necessarily someone who have been pushing drugs. And I'm not here promoting that at all, okay? I'm just basically telling you what was being revealed to me. So if somebody had kind of basically pushed drugs in a past life, in this life, maybe they're not doing it, but maybe their child is doing it, okay? It's almost like I saw something was being revealed, exposed for someone doing something illegally, okay? So whether it's pertaining to drugs or just anything else, something about somebody being exposed for something about digging something up, something's going to be exposed. And for some of you, it's a situation dealing with like your neighbors in a sense of, you know, you kind of putting your foot down, because let's just say maybe your neighbors in a past life, they just kind of did what they wanted to do, and they will pull up as an example, because this is the way it was shown to me. Like you looking out your window, you see your neighbors pull up, and they pull up in your parking spot and act like ain't nothing happening, and they know it's your parking spot, and it's like, So you go and meet them out in the hallway, and it's almost like, move it in a sense. And they're like, and it was like they got busted, they got caught, so they had no choice but to move it. But again, some of that energy and information is coming up has a lot to do with past life energies, okay? People crossing boundaries in some sort of way. And the next message I received was that I did a prophetic message on some time ago, and I told you guys, remember that whatever comes up, it's almost like knowing the difference between what's yours and what's not yours in a sense, of reminding you of what's yours and what's not yours. So because again, you have to remember that there's certain situations that maybe the divine masculine may have operated in a previous lifetime, but he may have operated in that energy, and it's not necessarily who he was, but he had to become that because he was put in a situation to where, let's just say again, let me give you an example, like again, like let's say slavery, and it was to the point that Nat Turner was like, oh no, I'm not dealing with this, in a sense, you know. So Nat Turner kind of did what he did. He kind of turned to way that he turned. It's almost like that same situation in regards to your master. It's almost like they had to, you know, close off their feelings so that way that they can get the job done. Because some of you guys, it was a situation like you were literally like an executioner in like past lives, in a sense. Like literally that was your job, in a sense. Okay. And for some of you, you were put in that situation to where it's almost like someone said, okay, well, you can't leave out of here until you fight your way out, in a sense. Okay. So I say all that to say that we have to realize that all of this is coming up so that way that truths can be revealed to us of where it's coming from, and that is not necessarily who we really are. And this is why the Most High is trying to get you back to being your true authentic self, because all of your painful experiences that you had to deal with, those were being projected onto you, and those were situations that people gave you, and you had to resort to being that way in order to, let's just say, whether it was to protect your family or to get out of a situation, in a sense. Okay. So the next message that came up, it was something about pertaining to religion. It's almost like the Most High is kind of like saying, like, you need a spiritual foundation. Okay. So for some of you, it's a situation of maybe you've been in spirituality a little too long, in a sense, and maybe now it's to the point, and it doesn't have to necessarily be about religion. It could just be about you grasping. Like, for example, if you never picked up the Bible and read it before, maybe pick up the Bible and read it now, is what I'm getting, because God is trying to get people away from religion. But the word religion came up in regards to the way I saw it was, it's about having a firm, solid foundation spiritually. Okay. Because when you're not, it goes back to what I'm hearing. Thank you, Spirit. What I'm hearing is like someone like dealing with is what they refer to like mental health issues, as they refer to as schizophrenic, or, you know, bipolar, or any of those things. You know, you need a strong foundation to kind of stand on spiritually, because when you don't have a strong foundation to stand on, you know, your energy could be chaotic. You could be all over the place, in a sense. But when you're rooted in, let's just say, like for myself, like the word of God, in a sense, you know, picking up the Bible and reading, it's a foundation, it's a principle, you know, like as an example, thank you, Spirit. What's coming to mind is like the 10 Commandments. Those are principles, those are morals, those are values. This is what God is saying, that this is what you should be doing, in a sense. When you have those things in place, you know, it makes it a little easier to have a stronger foundation to stand on, rather than just, is what's coming to mind is rather just kind of being out here and just throwing witchcraft and black magic and, you know, throwing your warlock, you know, wand at people, in the sense of, you know, just trying to, you have a sense of, I'm hearing, thank you, Spirit, I'm hearing you have a sense of purpose when you're all more rooted in principle, in a sense. Okay. So anyway, so for some of you, it will be a situation, because I kept hearing the song, my soul says yes, 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 Lord, cover me. Oh, cover me with thy grace, I think it was. So yeah, so I kept hearing that. So for some of you, it's a situation of God literally, truly, he just wants to cover you. And for some of you, it's a situation of going through so many tumultuous situations and traumatic experiences to the point that you guys are running into God's arms. Okay. It's like, cover me, Lord, just cover me. Okay. And for some of you, it's like I was hearing the song as well too, the song Jesus is the light of the world. It came to my ear. I'm trying to figure out the song. Anyway, so that was another message. And for some of you, like I said before, it's almost like you guys just wanting God to cover you and protect you. And for some of you, you're already protected. You just don't even know that you're protected, because you feel like you've been through so much. You feel like you've done so much, and you feel like that you possibly not protected. But do and understand, know that God is protecting you. You are protected. Why? Because if your feminine is protected, you are also protected. You have to know and understand that you are protected because you are her other half. Okay. God's not going to let one bad thing happen to the other half, because then that would just be asinine of one part of her being complete and whole, and the other half is just like limped or whatever the case may be. So yes, you are covered, and you have to know that you are covered, but God wants you to move with more purpose. He wants you to live your life with more purpose. He wants you to live your life not how you lived it before, but doing things differently going forward, okay? Because some of you guys are, I'm hearing, leaders. And not only that, but people do what they see you doing, because when you conform and get into line, other people will follow, okay? So the other message that I received was, oh, bear with me. Those are just side notes. Okay, so the other message I received was, it's a shame, but this is just how it's going. So even the little children, right? So it's almost like when these older adults come into, it's what I'm hearing is when these adults kind of get in line, it's almost like these children are going to follow in a sense, because this is about healing generational trauma, curses, karma, whatever you want to call it. But basically, keep in mind that it's like once these adults start doing the inner healing work, it's almost like these kids are now going down into the basement in their subconscious and cleaning out stuff in their basement as well too, okay? Which is stuff that they didn't know that was buried deep down in there. Could have been stuff maybe their parents taught them, their grandparents taught them, or just generational stuff that they picked up along the way as well too. Well, God is kind of revealing, to them things that are not who they truly are, but things that they picked up lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, just from other family members, or just from society in general, or just because they saw, great grandma or whoever doing whatever it is that they doing, and nobody bothered to question, but everybody just kind of followed, okay? So this next message came through was, so be aware that your children, you may find your children going through stuff, but I will say this, because this is what's coming to mind. Be mindful of, if you see your children going through stuff and you're not really sure, give them the time and the space. I didn't say not to care, but give them the time and the space is what I'm hearing. But also trust the fact that God has them. Give it to God, and God is going to lead and guide them, because there's two ways that could kind of go. Some of you guys can start resulting to go taking your kids out here and taking them to these therapists and so on and so on, because you got to remember that sometimes even these therapists have their own personal issues that they haven't even healed themselves yet, but yet they're sitting there counseling you or advising you in areas. And I'm not saying that they don't have their, the world way of how can I say it? The world has taught them this is how you handle certain situations, but the world didn't probably tell them, hey, before you step into this field, you should also heal your stuff too before you deal with these other people, because it's almost like, it's like the pot calling the kettle black, okay? It's like, you need to heal this, you need to do that. Oh, well, why do you think you're doing this, when they haven't even evaluated their own life first and clean up their own backyard while they're trying to help you clean up your own? So be mindful of that as well too. But if the Most High should lead you and guide you to someone, that's a different story. But before you move and before you start taking your kids anywhere, be mindful and always consult God first and foremost, okay, is what I'm hearing. So this next message came through is, some of you guys are about to some of you guys, and I know you guys you probably saying, oh, she keeps saying that, but it hasn't happened yet, because it's stuff that y'all keep doing along the way. I don't get to control what y'all do. Y'all do what y'all do because you feel like you want to do it, okay? But I say all that to say, it's almost like there's going to be a shift in energies, okay? And there is a shift happening now, because I saw it. Let me finish up. But I say all that to say, there's going to be this next wave of divine feminines who are basically going to come in and basically kind of have to do cleanup work because of their masculines, how they operated. So just imagine like somebody's room being junky and dirty, and it's like God giving you the divine feminine a mop bucket, and she has to go in there and kind of clean up what he done messed up, is what I'm hearing, okay? And it's like that song, I gotta clean up where they done messed up. I started my life over again. For some of you, it is going to be a situation that your divine feminine is literally kind of having to come in there and literally clean up, in a sense. And it's almost like, but it's going to be renewing of the mind, renewing of the heart space, renewing of perception, renewing of life, in a sense, okay? But yes, it's like your divine counterpart is coming in to kind of clean up again. Let's just say what I'm hearing is a karmic partner. For some of them, they've been with a karmic partner who basically has imagine somebody who was like up here, and then just being with that karmic partner just kind of did this to him, you know, kind of brought them really low in a sense. So now it's to the point, it's almost like the feminine is kind of coming in, having to clean that up and clear out all the stuff that the karmic has done in a sense. So that way it can kind of make a path for him to be able to see the truth, hear the truth, understand the truth, acknowledge the truth, and more importantly, to be able to discern the truth. Okay. All right. So that's for some. And then this next message came through was, okay, this is the reason why I said things is changing, because it's almost like after the masculine has went through the energy of trying to control, trying to manipulate, trying to send forceful energy, disrespecting you, treating you like trash, or, you know, treating you some type of way, and really seeing themselves in a lower light in a sense. And God is kind of, you know, counseling them in a sense of letting them know, hey, this is not who you are. Just your experiences and situations that people have put you in the past life has made you resort to this, but this is not who I made you to be. Okay. Because underneath that, all that debris, all that particles of everything that was attached to you in a sense, it's almost like God is saying that's not who you are. Okay. You are love. You are love. You are love. I love you. This is God saying, God said, I love you and I built you to love. Okay. But that doesn't mean that you go around here giving your love to any and everybody, because remember, everybody doesn't have your best interests at heart. And I keep saying that over and over again. Got to learn how to protect your heart space. Okay. So anyway, the next message came through was, I saw this was, it's like after all of that tumultuous situations, all the traumatic experience, and all of the divine masculine chaotic energy that he was sending his divine feminine, it's almost like he's in recovery phase right now. Okay. And the way I see it is almost like a kid throwing a temper tantrums. He do all that, and after he get all that stuff out of his system, then he's like, okay, I'm ready to go through this now, in a sense. Okay. So the way I saw that was, it was like a divine feminine was driving her car. I saw it made it seem like I was driving my car first, and then it switched to, and I told myself, you know what, I'm going to take a different route. Okay. But I really feel like I was seeing this through my masculine's eyes in a sense. So it's almost like him saying that I'm going to take a different route. So as he chose to take a different route, in a sense, I could see the road so clear. The road was literally, I could see the cracks in the road. Not a bad thing. Like, you know how they have cracks in the road and they patch it up with tar or whatever the case may be. I could literally see like the cracks in the road. Everything was so crystal clear. That lets me know that is the correct path. Okay. That is the correct path, and the path is open. So it's almost like this masculine was deciding to take a different route, take a different path. And as he was merging to get on the beltway, in a sense, it's almost like you could see things so clearly, in a sense. Okay. Whereas he couldn't see anything before, because again, he was trying to control the situation. He was trying to manipulate the situation. He was trying to, you know, he was trying to implement his own plan rather than implement God's plan. Okay. So for some of you, it's a situation of you learning to pull back the reins, and you're trusting the judgment and the counsel that your spiritual team has given you, and is letting you know that as he was getting on the road and driving, it's almost like, imagine a divine feminine sitting in the back seat, because now she feels comfortable with knowing that he is able to see the truth, hear the truth, understand the truth, acknowledge the truth, and more importantly, to discern the truth. Whereas before, when he was forcing things, she's like, oh, I don't trust that. Get away from me. Get thee behind me, Satan. Okay. Or I rebuke you, in a sense. Okay. So I say all that to say that's just how she felt about him at that time. But now that he can see clearly, and I'm hearing that song, I can see clearly now, the rain has gone. Thank you, Spirit. It's going to be a bright sunny day. Anyway, so it's about taking a different route. So when you guys decide to take a different route, do something different, you'll get a different result. Okay. Because you can't keep moving in the same way thinking that you're going to get a different result by doing the same thing. Okay. So anyway, so this other message came through, something about 3 different generations visiting this one house. House usually is a symbolism of belonging. Okay. Something about visiting a house, in a sense. Okay. And 3 different generations. So maybe it was a situation of like the divine masculine's father went through a situation, the divine masculine went through a situation, and now their, you know, their child is went through that same experience. And what's coming to mind, it could be anything. Okay. It could be a situation of maybe how they may have acted. It could be a situation of addictions. It could be a situation of maybe going down a certain path, going down a certain road, in a sense, to feel a sense of belonging, to feel a sense of belonging, of trying to find what seems to be like home in a sense, okay? So that's a message for some of you guys. But remember, when you choose to do the inner work, everything else will fall in line along with your kids underneath you, okay? So if your dad chose not to do the inner work, that's his problem, not your problem. But as long as you chose to do the inner work, anybody coming down behind you, you know, it by you doing the work, you making it a little easier for them in a sense, okay? So this last message came through, no, not last message, almost done though. This other message came through, something about cigarette smoking, okay? It was almost like this woman had came to visit me, and I told her, you can't smoke in my house or whatever. You do that shit outside or whatever the case may be. So it's almost like she was sitting outside, she was thinking, and she thought to herself, like, whatever it was that she thought, and it was just to the point that I guess she got so convicted of what I said to her. This, again, this was in a dream in a sense. So she got so convicted by what I said to her. It's almost like the company, something about a company car, something about a company cell phone. It's almost like taking the cell phone and hanging it on the window and abandoning the car, like literally walking away from whatever it was that she found herself being attached to, okay? That was making her, I'm hearing, thank you, Spirit, whatever that was making her nervous in a sense, because usually when people smoke cigarettes, usually the nervous system is usually out of whack or whatever the case may be. So they're trying to calm themselves down with whatever's in the cigarettes or whatever it is that they choose to smoke or whatever the case may be, okay? But anyway, so something about somebody abandoning their car, the work car, as well as the cell phone, okay? So anyway, that could be a situation of, you know, pertaining to anything, somebody's job or, you know, a habit or anything. So just take that how it resonates. And this other message came through was, you guys may hear about a situation of like cancer kind of being on the rise in a sense. And this is not me projecting, but this is me just basically saying kind of what I saw, because I kind of saw this in a dream state. And you may hear this about Hispanic people as well too, this happening. And something came up in regards to the word somebody taking advantage of somebody, like when they were, I don't know if this was when they were younger, but you know, the R word or whatever the case may be. When somebody takes advantage of somebody and they don't have somebody's consent, something about that word coming up. So be mindful, because right about now, as I said before, we're in these Saturn in retrograde energies. Anything from the past could come up. People may see this and think that they're supposed to act on this and respond on this because they're feeling that way, and they're supposed to do quite the opposite in a sense. But again, this is energy that's kind of coming up to the surface, and they think that they need to act and respond on it, especially if they're not coming from a healthy place. So be mindful of that. So ladies, please watch yourself, lock your doors, watch your surroundings. I'm not telling you to be fearful, but you know, move in a sense of listen to your intuition and your gut feeling. If something tells you to move, leave, or walk away, do so, okay? But just make sure that you're around other people, so that way someone can see, hear, or, you know, you're not being left alone, okay? So anyway, but basically the Saturn retrograde energy has a lot to do with going backwards, okay? So anytime you hear the word retrograde, that means we're going backwards. So this is mostly the Most High kind of putting us in a situation for us to go backwards, to revisit the past, so that way that we can see anything that we wasn't necessarily aware of before, okay? That has been hurting us, harming us, and keeping us back and holding us back in some sort of way that we wasn't necessarily aware of, okay? So I say all that to say, I'm going to pull a couple of cards real quick. And, oh, I'm hearing the song right now. Let me say it real quick, okay? I'm going to just, all right, Lord, which cards did you want me to use? Okay. Okay, so the song I'm hearing right now, it says, my soul says yes, 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 Lord, cover me, cover me, cover me with thy grace. And then the other song I'm hearing, thank you, Spirit, is no more chains are holding me, my soul is resting, it's just a blessing. Praise the Lord. Hallelujah. I'm free. Okay, so I don't know who needs to hear that. I am free. Praise the Lord. I'm free. I'm no longer bound. No more chains holding me. My soul is resting. It's just a blessing. Praise the Lord. you guys want to watch that, it's Tasha Cobbs, but you can watch that. Was it First Baptist Church, Glenarden? Oh, that one, that really kind of moves me. That particular one. Anyway, that's the song I'm hearing. Heavenly Father, what do you want the collective to know in regards to this prophetic message that I just gave? What do you want the collective to know? Where are they at right now for its recovery, Heavenly Father? Where do you, for those who has already went through this traumatic experience, where are they at now? Okay, so we have a windfall of money, advice or assistance from others, a very successful project, a happy change in career. Okay, I said somebody was walking away, leaving the company car and the cell phone. Y'all see that? All right. All right, Heavenly Father. What message do you have in regards to the life path? What are some of them? Some of you, it's a situation of you studying. Some of you guys are already studying, already practice, because some of you guys are already knowing what it is that you're supposed to be doing. It's just a matter of keeping your eyes on the prize and having hope and trust in the process and know that God has you, like knowing that you are setting a solid, firm, stable foundation. So just remember to keep studying, keep practicing, and keep your eyes on God is what I'm hearing. Okay. And I just heard, watch the magic unfold. See, she has a little thing in her hand. And it's like, it's going like this. God wants to surprise you. So, all right, Heavenly Father, what are some of them? What life purpose are some of them stepping into? Give me 3 different groups, please. What are some of the life purpose that some of these people are stepping into? Thank you. Some of you guys are building. You're building a business, okay? Your innate ability to build and create brings a deep sense of accomplishment, okay? So for some of you guys, as I said before, it's about you building. God is leading and guiding you to build a business, because again, as I said, it's about crossing T's and dotting I's, because again, how are you going to leave behind a legacy when you're working for another company? Only thing you can leave behind is maybe a house, a car, or property. But this is where God is really trying to get you to build a legacy. Okay, it's beyond that. Okay, and some of you guys are building a situation of conducting healing work through your culinary skills. Okay, it's about, I just said that I said that in regards to, just watching the people that you eat from, in a sense, okay? Watching the people that you eat from. But some of you guys are doing this, healing work through food as well, too, okay? And for some of you, your life purpose involves your skills of orientation, okay? Speaking, okay? And honestly, I told my masculine years ago, he didn't hear me, but I think he thought I was talking about, I told him I saw him standing behind a podium, but he didn't believe me. But I say all that to say that he thought I was talking about a church podium. So this is a classic example of, there's all types of podiums, okay? But anyway, so is there any other cards you want me to use? All right, y'all, I'm going to pull these and I'm going to end this message. Just 2, please. What is the overall message? What is the overall message that you want them to know? What is the overall message that you want them to know? What is the overall message that you want these people to know? Just 2, please. One more, please. Okay. So it says kindness counts. So again, after all the tumultuous situations and traumatic experiences that some of us have went through, it's about going forward of knowing that kindness counts, okay? Being kind to your divine feminine. Being kind to her because she is the other half of you. Being kind to her because, remember, she gives you a sense of direction. She helps guide you when you cannot see, okay? You can't do this on your own, and she can't do this on her own. She recognizes that the Most High has you guys together for a reason, because again, you're stronger together than you are apart, or whatever the case may be. So you got to learn how to treat her with kindness and treat her with respect. If you don't treat yourself with disrespect, then you don't treat her with disrespect. But some of you, I'm also hearing too that, it was just to the point that you didn't even respect yourself enough, to the point that you were disrespecting her. Because what kept coming to mind was, it's like, what kept coming to mind was anxiety, self-punishment, hate, low self-worth, and obsessiveness. Okay, so that's kind of the energy some of the masculines have been operating out of. And then the last one says your beliefs are right for you. Okay, So whatever it is that God is telling you that he has for you, know and believe that it is right for you because it is who you are. And I don't know if you guys can see, but there's like zeros on here, there's ones on here. So it's almost like a part of your DNA of who you are, who you were meant to be, coding, okay? Can you see it? If you look closely, you'll see it. Anyways, numbers on there. But anyway, but the way I see it is it's starting back at 0 point, okay? 0 point, 10, completion for some, one-on-one life lessons is what I'm hearing. 11, which is the twin flame journey. And some of you guys are starting over from scratch. And again, some of you guys are back at 0 point. Some of you guys at 1. And some of you guys are at 10, some of you guys at 11. And again, it's about one-on-one. It's almost like the spiritual journey has taught you a lot of one-on-one lessons about life in general. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end that there. But you guys can visit me over on TikTok. I will be having some other discussions over there if you choose to. And I will be pulling some cards for the week just so that way you guys could be aware of what energies that we're kind of dealing with for next week, okay? So with that being said, I hope that information was helpful. I wish you all much love and much light.